Hello, Wildcat fans. It's Ben the Coin Geek from Old Pueblo Coin. This video brought to you by Old Pueblo Coin at Speedway in Columbus. Ready to talk some U of A hoops where the ladies dropped a heartbreaker in Tempe this week. There's also something that happened in Ames, Iowa. A cold storm blew through. We don't know anything about that. We don't talk about Iowa. So, here's a fun little rehashing of what happened in Tempe. I was able to go to the game and enjoy the lovely 1982 confines of whatever they call their arena, where the screens have not been updated since then. I don't know if that's actually the factual date, but you can't even tell what's on the screens. The only video replays they did were on fouls, I think. There's like no video replays. Anyways, it's ASU, so as a U of A guy, you can make lots of comments. So this game was pretty interesting. We had a game where Tanya Welch, after getting hurt at the end of the Iowa State game, did not play. She was listed as a starter and then didn't play. She was suited up. I thought this was weird. I'm not going to lie. I think this is like a kind of a silly head game by coach. I could be wrong. But same thing, Denia Trammell didn't play last game until everyone had fouled out, and then she played. Well, this game she came out, very big leg wrap on her thigh. She wasn't going to play as much. She only played 10 minutes this game, 1 for 5 from the field, a couple of rebounds, and it was a tough game. As I think about this game, I mean, credit to ASU for pulling it out. It just, when you lose 68-61 to a team that had you up by 7 at the half, and then you take, I think, like a 5 or 6 point lead into the second half. And it was just neck and neck most of the rest of the way. Really, it was a 1 point game with 2 minutes left to go. And then they get a shot, we miss, and then we foul. They make their free throws, we miss. There's all these little things. Like when I go back and watch the highlights of the game, I'm like, wow, 1 missed layup, a couple missed free throws. So our free throws, 13 of 18 isn't terrible, but also, they were full on 19 of 21. 19 of 21. It felt like all the fouls were getting called on us, but we did get a lot of free throws, almost as many as them. So you can say credit them for getting those free throws. You can say, hey, we had 20 turnovers. We had 14 turnovers in the first half. That's very atypical of this team. This team usually takes good care of the basketball. ASU with 16 turnovers and 12 assists. We had 20 turnovers and 13 assists. Really the killer, though, rebounding, the 35-29 edge doesn't seem like it hurts that much, except for the fact that we had 6 offensive rebounds to their 14. Well, that's 8 more possessions, not counting the difference between, turnovers were +4, so there's like a 4 possession difference in the game. They actually ended up with 11 more shots than we did. 11 more shots. And so really, they only shot 39% from the field. Our defense was something else. I was there with some high school kids. One of them was, 5'4", the other one was 6'1", and I'm looking and I'm like, that's our starting lineup. That's our starting guard against their starting guard, right? And there was something about this game that really brought that into focus for me, just the size difference of the kids. Even though I go to the games at the McHale Center, it just kind of struck me, the size difference. Also, what the team's been able to do, what the coaches have been able to do on certain games with certain matchups, where we're just able to compete at a very high level. Breaking down, I don't know if I'm going to talk much about anyone from ASU here, but we're talking about kind of how the U of A ladies did. Starters, Nora Francois, MJ, Cam Kitchen, Samaya Sungapong, Noelani Cornfield. Cam, they have her down for 40 minutes, although she fouled out. They have Nora Francois down for 34 minutes, and she fouled out. They have Samaya Sungapong for 30 minutes, and she fouled out. There's some consistency here with the fouling. We'll talk about fouling in just a minute. Kitchen, 5 of 12 from the field, 14 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists, 3 steals. I think overall she had a nice game. I mean, for someone who didn't get a look for about 5 games in a row, she just was, I think, very effective. I like her on the court. Samaya Sugapong, 30 points. She was just really chippy the whole game. Like, if I was the opposing team, I'd be like, what's her deal, man? I will say, like, on the first play of the game for us, she got knocked over at half court, and just they took the ball after they just kind of knocked her over. It was the weirdest play. And from then on out, she was pretty chippy. She was pretty intense, but it was a good type of intense. Noelani Cornfield, 40 minutes, 19 points, 7 of 9 field goals, 5 of 8 at the free throw line, a couple of rebounds, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, a little bit more than you want to see. Yeah. MJ played a solid game of 30 minutes. She was really effective switching. She's tallish, at 6'1", and got 6 rebounds, 2 of 5 from the field with 5 points. Off the bench, Denia Trammell got a little bit of time. Chola Magott, once again, here you go with 5 points, 4 points in 5 minutes. She's still our most efficient player. I mean, she still makes 6 out of 10 of her shots. And it's hard because if you watch what's going on the court, you realize why coach is like, I don't know how much I can have her out there when these other teams are moving as much as they do. Speaking of defense, ASU's game plan, it seemed like, was to shut down Cam Kitchen. It seemed like her whole goal was like, look, don't let this girl get hot. No one else is going to shoot from outside. We'll be fine. It felt like that just a little bit. It was interesting. Molly Ladwig with 10 minutes, no points. Her stat line is not pretty on there. Not a lot popping up there, but I thought that she played pretty good defense at times and was effective where she had to be, when she had to be. Just too much. Too many of these little plays that go the wrong way for you. Fouls. Okay, so we foul, right? And so some of our fouls are not the ref's fault. I mean, I don't like a lot of the officiating anyways, but some of the fouls, the dumb fouls, are the ones that need to be cut out, because you turn yourself from a 5 fouling out to 3 fouls or what have you. And also, one of our problems is just personnel, which is to say, at times when we rotate and have to rotate, we'll end up with a 5'5" guard in the post. Oftentimes they don't foul, but lots of times they get fouls from being down there. Old man, get off my lawn time. So there's first of all, I saw them call a carry for the first time like ever, which was fascinating. They called it on ASU. They could call carry almost every time. And I watch how our girls. Noelani Cornfield is always palming the ball, putting her hand around every side of it. Generally, it's just accepted, which drives me nuts because I'm an old man. But the thing that really makes me upset as a fan is I haven't seen over the back called almost ever. There's this weird rule now where basically, if you're boxing out, if the person above you like goes up but not over, it's not really over the back, they're just bigger than you. But you watch the number of times when our kids box out and are basically getting pushed, and the number of times our kids, they've been boxing out and they get called a foul for boxing out when the other person is going over the back. I'm sorry, it should be an over the back call. The defensive player, usually it's on the defensive side. When we're trying to get a defensive rebound, just watch how this plays out. We're trying to get a defensive rebound. Our girls are boxing out like they're supposed to. Someone starts to go over the top, and then because they're going over the top, they end up falling down or whatever, and the refs are like, whoa, let's stay in here. This is the sign. Here. That's what the refs look like, just like that. Anyways, okay, enough of that. I was pretty fired up. This coming week, we've got Oklahoma State coming to town. Tough game. Oklahoma State is, I think, a wicked good basketball team. They are currently 5th in the standings in our conference, and they've got a lot of firepower. For those of you who don't know, Michaela Purdue's probably not coming back this season. That injury, she's in a full-on cast, and we will see what happens. So the Big 12 standings, we get to Oklahoma State first on Sunday. And then following that game on Sunday, that Wednesday, we have who is after that? Kansas State coming to town on Wednesday the 4th. And then we go to West Virginia for the 7th, which is another wicked good team with a lot of offensive power. Let's go ahead and look at the standings here. Welcome to the Big 12, also known as the Texas North Conference, maybe? I don't know. TCU, number 1, 8-1 record, 20-2 overall. Baylor at 8-1, 19-3 overall. Both of those teams have to play each other twice still in the back half of their schedule, which is kind of interesting. Texas Tech at 7-3. They lost to this Kansas State team we play on Wednesday. They lost to BYU and Iowa State. And then here they've got, who do they just beat? Oh, they just beat, Texas Tech just beat Baylor. So top half, those 3 teams, all Texas teams. West Virginia at 7-3, 17-5 overall. Oklahoma State 6-3, 17-5 overall. I talked about the quads before, like there's 16 teams, so let's just say like 4, 4, 4, and 4. Probably more realistically, you can kind of look at the thirds, roughly thirds. I think that top half of the bracket, those first 5 or 6 schools, TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and then Utah at 6-3, all probably going to be like tournament-ready teams. It gets dicey after that because then you have Arizona State at 5-4, at 18-4 overall. I mean, how important was that game for them the other night? Iowa State's 5-5 and 17-5 overall. A team that was in the top 25 undefeated, then lost like 5 conference games in a row, and they weren't necessarily the best teams. And then all of a sudden they decide to get hot, and then they play us. Thank you very much. Colorado at 4-4. Actually, I think that they are now 5-4. I think that game just ended here. 5-4 and 14-7. Kansas State would be 4-5 then, and 11-11. BYU 4-5, 15-6 overall. And some of this stuff gets so deceptive because it's like some of those teams, it feels to me like BYU is a much better team than Kansas State. They got 4 more wins on the season overall, but they got the same number of conference wins and losses. You get to Cincinnati at 3-6, 8-13. So now we're starting to get negative on all these, not all the teams. Kansas 3-7 in conference, 13-9 overall. Then Central Florida 2-7, 10-10. Arizona 1-8, 10-10. Houston 0-9, 6-14. So hopefully we've got at least one more win. We've got to be careful with that type of talk. I actually hope for a lot more than just one more win. It's going to be an uphill battle on the last part of the schedule for us. If I'm going to say anything about the rest of the Big 12 season, first of all, I mean, that Kansas team is on the bottom third of the bracket right now, or the standings. What was her name? Jaliyah Davis, freshman of the year. I mean, she's incredible. My favorite thing about this is like ESPN doesn't even have a photo of her, and she's like dropping 29 points on people, and super effective, super efficient. They're a totally different team with her on the court. Just a very, very different team. The way that the standings are now, I'm not necessarily predicting that they'll stay this way, but it feels like they're actually parceled out pretty close to how they will be. The middle is super squishy with Utah at 6-3 down to BYU at 4-5. That's like 7 positions that are just a couple games apart from each other in the overall rankings. But really, I think it's all about TCU and Baylor at the top. Then it goes, I think Texas Tech, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State are all kind of like next tier. And after that, it gets so dicey. Utah, ASU, Iowa State, Colorado, Kansas State, BYU. Like, I feel like BYU is a better team than Kansas State, Colorado, maybe Iowa State, maybe ASU. But, I don't know. Because then after that cutoff at BYU, it feels like Cincinnati, Kansas, Central Florida, Arizona, Houston, this bottom 5 teams are all just the teams that need all the work, right? So we have, what else have we got going on here as we close out this little conversation about the rest of the season? I had said if we get to 6 wins in the conference, I'll consider it a success. We only have the one in the first half of the season. We're halfway through the conference season, and we had that 1-point loss against Utah, 3-point loss against Central Florida, and then we had a chance against ASU. Some of the other games got away from us. Realistically, we have Oklahoma State left, Kansas State, West Virginia, Cincinnati, ASU again, Colorado again, Baylor, Houston, and Utah. What's a winnable game in there? Okay, so winnable. I'm going to go with, there's an obvious couple, 2-3 in there maybe. K-State, Cincinnati, ASU. I would love to see us do something to Colorado after the way they shellacked us up there. I think there would be some vengeance on the mind. I don't know if I just don't know. For whatever reason, it feels like Colorado's a mismatch for us in a bad way. So I'm not going to put Colorado down, but you do have that Houston team that's not very good. So am I saying we're going to win those games? No, I'm not going to say that. You're without your leading scorer, which affects everything else on the court. When you have someone who's really effective on the court offensively, it changes other teams' defensive strategies. Generally speaking, we have one big who's very effective, in my opinion, Nora Francois. Other bigs that are learning and growing, and so it becomes pretty difficult. But hopefully that ASU game here, Valentine's Day, bring a sweetheart, should be exciting game, and then for ranked teams though, that West Virginia team at West Virginia, at Baylor, those games could get out of hand, but that's kind of been the tale of this season, right? We've had games where we played very effectively against teams that I thought were, bigger and faster than us, which is just about everyone that we played. And then we've had games where we played really tight against teams. So hopefully we will see you all this next week at the McHale Center in Tucson, Arizona. I believe it's a 2 o'clock game time on Sunday against Oklahoma State, 6 o'clock on Wednesday versus Kansas State. Let's get a nice little home sweep. Let's make sure we have more fans than ASU does at the games. That's like a thing, right? All right, guys, bear down, and we will catch you next time.